This show is sponsored by BetterHelp Online Therapy. Visit betterhelp.com/kindafunny because honestly, being a human is exhausting. What's up and welcome back to the Kinda Funny Gamescast. As always, I'm Tim Geddes, joined by one of the coolest dudes in video games, Greg Miller.
Ghostbusters Afterlife in theaters this November.
Who would have thought that you're a fan based on your surroundings?
Never would have guessed.
I love that green. I love the green glow, Greg. I got to give you the shout out for that. I know we talked about it a lot, but it's apt today.
You know, we haven't talked about it a lot, so I don't mind you bringing it up again. It's one of those things I half-assed. That was me testing it on a Saturday and then just never moved it. Like I need to actually put it down. Still got the lights to go up in this thing. I didn't do it though. Blessing. I'm tired.
Yeah, I get that. I know it might be sacrilege, Greg, but I really feel like we got to hue it out so you can match it to the show. I know you always want it to be green because it's the Ghostbusters green.
What color do you want it to be now?
Oh, you can change it. Make it Gamescast colors, baby. Let's do a little. Can you do how many lights you can back there?
Isn't Gamescast green?
Well, right now you look good. Right now you look good because you got some green over there. But no, it's more the purples and the blues and the teal. It doesn't matter. Of course,
would you say it's the purple and the blues? Is that what you?
I didn't know Gamescast had colors. If I'm being honest, I thought it was I thought it was the light blue. But the background changes a lot.
Yeah, I'm going off of the logo, Tim. I'm going off the logo, which is kind of like light blue and. Yeah,
we're going way deep in this, but this is an important conversation to have. For the rest of the show, keep an eye on the background. It is very much purple and teal.
I have never once associated this podcast with purple. I'm going to say it right now, like right here, as loud as possible. I've never once associated Gamescast with purple.
Have you seen the album art, Blessing?
Wait, was that the thing? Did you color coordinate? Did you pick these arts based on color? Because I just thought you just no offense, because they're great art. I just thought you picked them. I thought you were like, oh, these look dope, so I'm just gonna pick.
My thing is,
shit.
Just look right here. See this blue, this kind of funny teal, whatever. That's what I always think of as the Gamescast color, not purple.
Yeah, I know. Well, yes, but it's teal with the accent of purple to help it tell a whole story, guys. I mean, come on.
What story is it telling?
We're not mad. We're not mad.
Look at that album art.
I don't see the story, man. I don't know if the story is being
told. Oh my God, that voice you hear is the new face of video games, Blessing Adeoye Jr.
Spider-Man No Way Home coming to theaters this December. I'm still waiting on that trailer.
Where's that trailer? Come on.
You'll get it one day. And I am extremely, extremely excited to have her on the show for the very first time. We have Raven Simone, AKA Bobdunga, one of my favorite YouTubers of the last couple years. Thank you so much for joining the show. How are you?
Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm having a really great time. This has been an interesting little color conversation.
They call it color commentary.
You see what I'm talking about, right?
I do. It's very retro 80s kind of feel,
Exactly. Miami Vice.
Exactly.
But this is the Kinda Funny Gamescast where each and every week we get together to talk about video games and all the things that we love about them. You can get it on youtube.com/kindafunnygames or roosterteeth.com. If you want to get it as a podcast, just search your favorite podcast service for Kinda Funny Gamescast and we'll be right there for you. If you want to get the show ad-free, if you want to watch live as we record it, and if you want the exclusive post-show, you got to go to patreon.com/kindafunnygames, just like our Patreon producers, Omega Buster, Tyler Ross, Delaney Twinning, Julian, the Gluten-Free Gamer, James Hastings, Casey Andrew, Elliot, and Tom Bach have all done. We appreciate all of you so very, very much. Today, we're brought to you by Freshly, HBO Max, and Gabby, but I'll tell you all about that later. For now, let's just get right into it. What have we been playing? Raven, I want to start with you. Blessing, you have a question. What's up?
Yeah, it has to do with Raven. I just noticed Uncle Phil on your wall. What is the story behind this? Because that is awesome.
That's been there. Thank you. When I first moved here, I just really wanted to, because I'm not going to be here for very long, just a couple more months, but I wanted to kind of make it my little space for a while. So I thought, why not just have an Uncle Phil? It's actually Uncle Phil on this side, and on the other side, it's Hannibal Buress from the Eric Andre show.
The Godfathers, of course. You need them watching over you.
You need the kings of comedy.
Exactly. That's what I always think about. Uncle Phil, king of comedy, baby.
Exactly.
But okay, back to the video games. Back to the video games here. You have been playing Grand Theft Auto 5. You wanted to talk about that, and I'm excited to talk about this because Bless has been dabbling, talking about. I see you on Twitter, Bless. I see all this stuff going on. Yeah. Raven, what's that been like for you?
Okay, so I haven't been playing the RP servers yet, but I kind of want to get into it because it looks like a lot of fun from what I see other people streaming. But I've been playing GTA 5 on and off. It's like a drug addiction. Like it's like you start off playing it when it first came out, and then every so often you just like come back to it. And I feel like I can't speak for everybody else because I know people really want a GTA 6, but I feel like I'm in that small camp of people that are like it always changes when I come back, and I'm never really bored. So I'm just kind of like in that group of people who are really satisfied with where it is right now. I don't have too many complaints.
Raven, what I want to let you know is somebody who would do just about anything for a GTA 6. I am the small group of people.
Yes, thank
you are
you.
the
Oh my
majority. And
God.
people who play this game and put money in Rockstar's pocket day after day.
Yes.
Blessing's been playing this since he was 5 years old. Trust me, they're fine. You guys are doing just fine for
Since
yourself.
he was a little baby
And
Blessing.
to be
Yeah.
fair, I know the game came out when I was a junior in college, and I remember that vividly because I did
Oh
very
my
bad that
God.
semester when the
Sure.
game came out. I got very bad grades that semester. But yeah, Raven. I'm in your camp as well. I've been talking about it all week on our different shows. That like
Yeah.
I've been going back ever since the latest update, which is the cartoonist thing. And the more I go back, the more I'm just like, oh yeah, I forgot how fun this is. Like I
Yeah.
think for me, it's you mentioned you're trying to gear up to want to get into the RP servers, which are more of what people who follow kind of funny stuff, right? Like Gary Whitta does the RP stuff with No Pixel, and that
Yeah.
is very much like a specific. Hey, I'm gonna go in here. I'm gonna play a character. I'm gonna talk to other characters. There are rules to this server. I can't just wild out and shoot people up or do whatever people do in GTA. I have to play according to the rules of this server. And even playing GTA Online traditionally and regularly, there's still an element of that for me where I feel like right now I am doing stuff that is very specific for the latest update, but there's plenty of other things I can do that I just don't interact with because that's not my lifestyle. I'm not
Yeah.
a casino
Yeah.
person. I'm not a
That's not my
bunkers
lifestyle.
person. Yeah, like right now I am living my best Fast and Furious life doing the tuners
Hell yeah.
update, which is I am buying cars, I am modding cars, I have an auto shop, I'm doing missions out of that auto shop. I am doing like the legitimate stuff in that auto shop, which is buying the cars and delivering them. I'm also doing
Yeah.
the car.
You're doing the not fun parts of Fast and Furious.
I'm doing the fun parts
You're-
and the
you're
not
the
fun
dude
parts.
Wes is like,
running
I'm
the shop.
balancing books. I'm
You're
doing,
doing
I'm
the
doing,
mob work.
I'm doing the accounting for other auto body shops.
If the legitimate business doesn't run, then the crime business isn't going to function as well. And so I got to make sure that all things are balanced.
Oh.
But I've been doing all that, hanging out with the car meet and having an excellent time. So I want to ask you, like, how are you playing online? Are you doing specific activities or how are you going about it?
Oh, well, right now, just to like go off of the other points that you said, that's actually something that I really like about the game because instead of it just being this consistent thing since 2013, it's like branched out
Devin,
into its
I vaguely
own
remember-
sort of little niches within the community. And it's you could literally do whatever. You just can't file your taxes, but you can do almost everything in that game. It's kind of insane.
It's on PC, right?
Yeah.
TurboTax,
But the
baby.
things that I've been doing so far, like I've been introducing my boyfriend to the game because I think he played casually before, but he kind of wanted to get more into it. So I'm just like showing him the earlier heists in the game and just like little missions you can do here and there. But we're still trying to figure out like what is it we want to do? Because I find whenever I play this game with people, it eventually turns into role play. Like we start making our characters, like we start to feel the characters and just like, let's go rob these guys. Like we get too into it.
Yeah,
Bringing up
Yeah.
the role playing stuff, like Bless, what have you been interested in dabbling in that? And if so, even though you're playing the game normally as this weird auto body guy, if you were to do the role playing stuff, who would your character be?
I thought about that a little bit. I don't have as much of a desire to get into the RP stuff, like the RP service specifically, just because it feels different from what traditional GTA Online is. Like I don't know if there's progression there or anything. It seems like you really are role playing for the sake of role playing and having fun playing that character, which isn't necessarily entirely what I want to do. I do like the progression aspects of going on the jobs, making money, building up RP, leveling up, being able to buy stuff, and feeling like I'm having that progression that makes video games fun for me. But if I did do the RP servers, I thought about this a little bit. I'm sure this might be a high in demand job, but I'd want to be a taxi driver. I'd want to play the game
God.
kind of like Crazy Taxi a little bit.
Greg, did you?
That wasn't where I was expecting it to go, but I love it. I love it.
Because I like the idea of getting to interact with as many people as possible. And like for me, and maybe even to modernize a little bit, I'll be like an Uber driver, like a GTA Uber, where I like
love
the idea
that.
of talking to people and getting to know different stories. And for a GTA Online RP server, you imagine that people are going pretty wacky with it, and so I feel like that'd be a great way to experience all these different pieces of the world while also getting my crazy taxi fix in. And I'm sure, like when I'm sure we've all had those Uber rides where we're talking to the driver and we're like, oh yeah, how'd you get into Uber? And they say the exact same thing where they're like, oh man, I like talking to people and I like getting to know people. And so like I feel like I would be that for GTA Online.
Yeah, you'd be the unassuming taxi driver who doesn't know that everybody they pick up is a criminal.
Pretty much, yeah.
See, I see you flipping around. You're doing your own taxi cab confessions, right? Where you have a show within the show, like you're streaming you playing GTA, but you're actually streaming your interviews with these people you're picking up on the road.
That'd be cool.
I don't know how familiar you are with this RP stuff, but without
I had to work with
details,
Gary Whitta when he was in like the throes of his Englishman in Los Santos. I had to hear about this all the time.
Hold on. I just came up with it. Bless you. Remember that show? And Tim, you probably know what I'm talking about here too. Of like that taxi show where it ends up being a quiz show.
Cash Cab.
Yeah, Cash Cab. And then like
I remember that.
if you get like, isn't it like if you get a certain amount of questions wrong, like you get kicked out eventually and stuff like that. But do that for Bless 2, Blessing.
Oh, dude,
fucking nailed it.
As fuck.
Get into the RP server like immediately.
Now I'm in. Now you
Yo,
sold
Barrett,
me.
you nailed that. That's actually really good. Like
it's one of my better ideas.
All of that is fantastic, but I like taking it a step further though, Bless, because like I like taking what you had with the Uber driver thing of like we need to come up with some way that people can like contact you, and you have to go pick them up, and then that's when you reveal to them that they're in this game. They think that you're just an Uber service, but no. That's awesome.
Okay, yeah. Let's not talk about this too much because this sounds like amazing content.
This sounds great.
Don't give away
But
the secrets.
this is a magnificent idea.
Coming soon to twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames. But Greg, what would you want to do?
See, I would want to turn it around. You know how much I loved Moonlighter, the game where obviously you went and you dungeon crawled and then you came back with the stuff and sold it in your shop during the day. That's what I'd be looking for. I think I could, if I know there's already a guns and ammo store in GTA, but I think if I could do something like that where I'm going out, I'm fighting and I guess murdering people to take their weapons and then selling those weapons back to other people. That's where I want to be.
Raven, what's your plan? You're gonna do this. I know you're gonna do it eventually.
I really, really want to like do nightclub stuff. So I want to be like a nightclub owner, and when people don't pay me back, I go break their legs and stuff. Like think about like Dimitri from Sly Cooper, kind of.
Okay.
Yeah. I feel like that would be pretty fun and a weird contrast.
I love it. So I haven't played GTA 5 since we did the party modes a couple of years ago. Like how much have they added to the like crazy race course type stuff going on where it's like in the actual Fast and Furious stuff?
Oh, Tim, like in the latest update, they added 2 new types of races. And I don't know how into Midnight Club you were back in the day.
Ooh,
I was more of an underground type guy.
Okay, that's fair. But like some of the races they've added, right? Like you like I said before, right? It's the car tuners update. They've added new cars. They're
car tuners. Got it.
Yeah.
I was thinking cartoon.
Oh yeah, car tuner. So you're tuning cars basically. So there are new cars with that. You can go in, mod them like crazy, all this stuff. But then for the new street races they've added, you can then take your modded cars in and race them against other people's modded cars. And so in the street races, the new ones, they're pretty traditional where you're in a neighborhood, you're doing kind of regular street races. They've added shortcuts to them, and so you can cut corners if you want to. But then they've also added pursuit races, which have reinvigorated my love for racing in GTA because I've already loved racing in GTA. Like during my Twitch stream, somebody had mentioned that while we were doing some of these races that Tim's been wanting this Hot Wheels game, but really he's just getting into GTA Online. And I was like, yeah, that's a good point because the special races and the transformed races in GTA Online where you're doing crazy courses that can have loops, that can have all these different things like that exists in there, and a lot of that is user created, and that's typically what I've been really into when it comes to GTA Online. But the new pursuit races are basically open world races where it is checkpoint to checkpoint to checkpoint, but you can take your own route to get to whatever the checkpoint is. And so I believe I've not played much Midnight Club, but I believe that is a similar setup as Midnight Club because Yami, who I've been playing with, has been making Midnight Club references whenever we do that mode. But yeah, like basically you have like the world is your oyster. You can take whatever route, and it's about choosing the better route than other players, and then also avoiding police, because that's the other thing in there is that you have 3, maybe 4, maybe 5 star levels when it comes to police during these races, and so it is absolute pandemonium where you're dodging police, you're trying to figure out what's the best route,
awesome.
You're trying to beat these other cars in the races and get to the finish line, and it has been phenomenal. It has been so much fun, and so I've been kind of addicted to those.
Greg, I don't want to take this like too far down this path, but
I know what you're gonna say, and I'm in.
Here,
let's cancel the show right now. We
that
all
sounds
download
great. That
GTA
sounds great
Online
too.
right now.
But as the old men here, like, can you take yourself back to the GTA 3 through San Andreas days,
sure,
where every online forum, every conversation was, can you imagine if GTA had an online where everyone could just hang out? And it just exists now. And we just don't even play. We're not even part of it. Like, we're such fools, man.
Dude, we're not fools at all.
Bounty.
And we did a post show for PS I Love You where we talked a little bit about this. And, Kevin and I tried. We gave it the college try of getting in there and doing it. And we found it to be so cumbersome of trying to figure out how to do it. And so, Blessing talking about his tips for trying to figure out how to make it work, let alone the fact that it's held together by duct tape at this point. It gets me both excited for it when they do launch the PlayStation 5 version of this, and then whatever the next client is and what they've learned from this, what a modern GTA Online would look like.
Yeah, GTA 6 Online, I think, is for sure going to revamp it. Like I would, with them releasing next gen versions of GTA 5 and GTA Online, it makes me think that they still have a lot of gas left in the tank for what they expect the life expectancy of GTA 5 Online to be. Like I imagine that them putting it out this fall means that it's still going to live for at least 5 more years. But they have to when GTA 6 comes out and they do a new form of online, revamp it and bring it into a new client and refresh everything, because it is held together by duct tape. It took me going online and just reading articles to figure out what is the best way to approach this in order for me to figure out how to play the best way with friends, because there's so many ways that you can jump into different events and lobbies, and most of them kind of suck if you're trying to play with other people. If you're playing alone, like I've been playing GTA Online alone for so many years, it's not as much of an issue. But this last weekend, when I tried to bring friends into it, when I tried to play with the community on Twitch and all this stuff, I had to figure out like, okay, cool, I can start a private server, a private lobby. Okay, I can do that. Cool. Oh, when I start a job, I should do it from the menu instead of actually doing it on call on my phone versus driving to it on the map. There's so much to learn in order to make it run the best that it can. But even when you figure out all the secrets and tips, it still is glitchy and it still can be cumbersome, and the matchmaking can still take a while. And it's stuff that is left over from 2013, where you can get away with a lot of stuff because a lot of developers are still trying to figure out how all this looks like, right? Like what does a live service game look like in 2013? Like Destiny wasn't out yet, right? Like there are limited examples of how to actually make something as big as ambitious as GTA Online work. And now that we're in 2021, all that stuff is way more noticeable, and they have to know that, hey, if we want to break the ceiling in terms of max potential for this thing, we got to make it so that somebody like Greg Miller or Tim Geddes can jump in and just have fun automatically without having to deal with all the bullshit.
I don't even mean like somebody like Greg Miller. All right. I tried GTA Online when it first launched, and it was a trash fire. Like it was just disaster when that thing launched. So I stayed away from it. And then it was one of those things where it was so big that by the time you got in there, I already felt behind everybody. Right. And then when Kevin and I tried at, because you're talking all of a sudden, right, from going from IGN to when we were already at Kind of Funny, when we were already in the actual studio, right? So not our infancy by any stretch of imagination. Kevin and I came in, there was just so much going on. But GTA Online, obviously such a movement, such a success, but also I think such a great microcosm of what you talk about when you talk about MMOs or online games where you need a Sherpa. Because some of the most fun I have ever had making Let's Play content is when Kind of Funny went to Achievement Hunter, and we did
every bullet counts.
Dude, and we ran around and had such a ball with that. And I remember we all came back like, oh my God, let's do this all the time for us. And we booted it up, and it was like, whoa, we are not how do we get there? What do we do? It was just, we kept falling all over ourselves to the point, Bless, you were talking in the PS I Love You post show a little bit about, tips for success, and how like, even when Kevin and I were in with Kind of Funny best friends, it's like, cool, we want this to be the team. And then you'd go and matchmake, and it'd be me fighting Kevin and then a random in the group and this, that, and the other. Like, what is going on? Why can't you just make this work the way you think it should work.
Barrett, real quick, I sent assets a video that I would like you to bring up real quick.
I got it.
This was released October 2nd, 2013, the day that GTA Online launched. This is
God,
a video.
I remember this. This is a day for me. I think I might have stayed home from school this day.
We reenacted GTA Online in real life, and it was just us.
Oh, right, because it was when the queue was all screwed up,
the
right?
queue wouldn't work, and can you play the music?
Yeah,
Barrett?
I remember this.
I want you to know.
Hold on, I gotta. Give me a second.
I mean, completely. You would have. You started this video, Tim. And if you would have paused it and said, "Are you in this video, Greg?" I would have said no. And then I just walked into frame like, "Oh, I don't remember filming this at all."
Yeah, but yeah, this is the music. I don't know. Does this still play when you're trying to get into a game in GTA 5?
They got the radio station though, so I think
it might just be a radio station
now. Yeah.
Got it. But yeah, this is just this is such a moment in time.
That literally happened last night.
8 years later.
That's fucking hilarious.
You got a lot. Anyway, you can get off of this.
Tim, you mentioned right, like having GTA 3 or GTA Vice City or San Andreas and wanting something like this. And for me, I think that is where my obsession kind of stems from, because I was in a similar place before GTA 5 came out. Like GTA San Andreas, as a kid who was too young to be playing San Andreas, I was playing it anyway because, fuck the police. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I was playing so much San Andreas, and it became one of my favorite games ever because it was an open world unlike anything I'd ever seen before. When you talk about the different types of land, when you talk about having 3 cities in it, when you talk about the culture and the details and how every city has its own thing, right? Like that really spoke to me, and I remember at that time being young and being like, man, San Andreas is so good. My perfect game would be if it was this with better graphics, less glitches, and online. And GTA 5 came out, and it was my perfect video game. And I talked about it a little bit yesterday too. I forget if it was the on PS Love, either the post show, maybe a little bit towards the end of the show, where GTA 5 to me is still probably one of my favorite games, like a 10 out of 10 masterpiece to me. Even when I talk about single player, or I talk about online, or when I talk about them combined, just because like it does so many of it. It does so much so well, and it is so addicting. Just like Raven said, it's kind of like that thing that you just keep going back to. And yeah, like I cannot wait at this point for GTA 6 to come out and just fix all the flaws right now that online has, because I want to enjoy this thing without any caveats, right? Like I enjoy it so much. I want to enjoy it without having to be like, but this. Because I think you, Greg, whoever, like who wants to hop in and have a good time could have a good time. But yeah, that shit is just plentiful in terms of barrier to entry.
Moving on from Grand Theft Auto, Greg, you've been playing a video game called Idle Manager.
That's right, Idle Manager. You might remember from a million live reaction streams ago to whatever press conference we were watching. Somebody showcased, Idle Manager, and I said that's a game I'd want to play. And I think somebody in the chat was like, "There's no way Greg will ever play Idle Manager." And I will let you know, I'm running Idle Manager right here over on this side of the screen. All right, I'm an Idle Manager named Greg Miller. My idol group is called Kinda Funny. We have 2 hits. We have 2 hits. Well, not hits out, right? But we put our first 2 albums out, right? Well, the first single is Nick Scarpino is Old. The second one is Help Coco. All right.
Great,
so like we're out there, we're making the moves. I want you to know I've just met my rival in the story mode. It is my wife, Genevieve St. Ange. So I'm out there. I'm doing it.
Oh, wow.
Right?
So do you think this is going to be like a romantic rivalry in the game?
I don't know if I can turn the game that way, Barrett, but if I can, maybe art will imitate life. And that's how we'll go.
Let me know.
Did
you guys start off as rivals?
You get to pick your It's the beginning.
No,
of the
I'm
game,
asking in real life. Did you and Jed start off as rivals?
I don't know how you address business, but everyone's my rival, right? Like you're my rival, Barry. Everybody's my rival, right? Yeah. But anyways, as you go on, this is one of those goofy things that it was pitched in the what? Do you remember what? I know that's a shot in the dark. What stream we were watching? Was it maybe a Nindies or something like that? But as Barrett goes through, the idea here is that you work at an idol agency. You are a low tier idol manager in Japan. You are making a basically idol group, and then you're putting them out and seeing them through and putting them through the paces. And I didn't expect it to be as simmy as it is, if that sounds, and when I say that, I mean it looks a lot like Fallout Shelter. Like right there, when you're seeing right there as Barrett's got up, like you have a building, right? And so the first thing it did once I got through the opening cutscene was like, all right, cool, pick a spot for your office, pick your office, and then it's like I'm building out this thing as I get, as I bring in, I recruited my first 3 girls for the idol group. Then I start sending them out on promotional things. I start sending them out for performances. That's making me money. That's making me fans. Of course, the more fans I have, the more money I can make. I've hired a marketing manager. I had to go hire a dance choreographer. I had to hire a sound guy. Obviously, I'm limited with who I can hire because of the amount of money I have. And so it's this game that I can sit there, and I've been letting go on the side while I was answering emails today because I just got my code yesterday. It just dropped today. So I'm super early into it. And if you're going to end up playing it, you'll see, of course, when you get your actual rival via the story, right? There's all this stuff going to, but it's doing what I like. It reminds me a lot, no surprise here, of Game Dev Story, which was obviously, a great Carosoft game where on your phone, you're going through and you're building a studio to make games, to get more money, to make more games, to make bigger games and all that stuff. So right now I'm very low on the idle totem pole, I want you to know, but I do think I will be able to fight my way to the top here, Tim. I'm going through, I'm recruiting, I'm learning, like it's this really interesting thing where the more people you hire, you can then give them tasks. So you have the manager, you have your choreographer, you have these people. If they're not working on a task right now, which would be like training one of the idols to be a better dancer, they sit there and accrue research points because it's happening over time, like SimCity, and you can speed up time. The research points you can then go and use to unlock new genres of music, new dance types, new stuff like that. So you can then diversify your portfolio and fold it out that way to bring in new fans and do different stuff like that. So I don't know what I was expecting, but it's way more in depth than I was. Where I thought, like last night, I came down, I was like, oh, I'll turn this on and screw around with it and get my head wrapped around it. Because I think it's even more intense than what Game Dev Story was, which I guess makes sense. Game Dev Story being a mobile game, this being a full blown PC experience over here. But it's interesting, like, I'm fascinated by it as somebody who's never, I've done sim games or whatever. This is my first kind of idle management game. But when you go into it, obviously, and if you're not familiar with the idol system, I think, I know Barrett is, all my Persona fans out there understand, the idol system over in Japan and like the girl groups and, stuff like that. And so like what I found interesting was obviously, very Japanese video game. And obviously there's so many different takes and different cultures and things like that, right? So like when you first get in there, like it's talking about the fact that if you want to, you can have relationships with your idols, right? And you can flirt with them as you talk to them, and I'm like, I'm very much like, oh man, I'm the manager, like I'm not flirting with that, and they're like, but they are very clear, like number one, it might not go, they might not be open to those advances, it might not work out that way. But what I think is interesting about it, and this is again first blush of it, I'm not going to flirt with anybody, right? Just because I think that's weird to be doing in a business relationship in this thing. But what I also appreciate is early on here in the story mode, one of my hired associates here, right, was like, all right, cool. We need to set up like basically what the rule book is of what it's like to be a part of your idol corporation, your idol company, right? And so it was going through and it was stuff like, all right, cool. Like how do you want the girls' outfits to be? If you want, you could put them in short skirts and, there's a chance for a wardrobe malfunction, but the hardcore fans are really going to like that. But if you don't want to be that kind of group, you don't have to do like it laid out like a whole thermometer different thing of going on. And if I'm presenting this in a way that makes it seem sleazier than it is, I don't mean to. This wasn't rubbing your hands being gross about it. It was my female assistant or whatever her title is coming in and being like, we need to lay this out. So how do you want them to do it? You could do, like I'm saying, the skirts to kind of be like lowest common denominator, skirts with shorts under them, long full-blown dresses, pants. Like there are this like thing. What is your policy on them streaming outside of work? You know what I mean? Like, what do you want them to do with their social media? And again, it's like no restrictions, minimal restrictions, or lockdown and stuff like that. Like they're doing this interesting thing that I could see playthroughs being different, and you can change this whenever you want to too. So, but every time they're doing it, they're like, okay, cool. One of them was security. How much security do you want around the girls when they're, going to a meet and greet? And it could be no security, which the hardcore fans will really like, or, maximum security, which will make your group happier, but of course is going to alienate certain fans. And so like, I want hardcore security. I want the group to be happy. And she's like, okay, great. That's a great call. You'll alienate these hardcore people, but I think most people understand, blah, blah. Like, I'm not here to, talk about the entire message of the game, but what I appreciate is when they start presenting some of those options and like the flirting stuff, which I thought was weird, when I didn't choose those, I was expecting to be like, oh man, it's really gonna hurt you, blah blah blah. But it didn't. It was laying out of like, cool, like you're not gonna get these, I guess super hardcore weirdo fans. But if you don't want those super hardcore weirdo fans, what's it matter? So I'm interested to keep playing it and see how it all nets out and how much deeper it gets and whatever. But right now I'm enjoying making music, Tim. I'm making out a lot of pop records right now.
When you say you make music, like, are you making music or are they just generating music? Or the pop stars?
Oh, I don't hear the music, obviously. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay.
So what's happening is it's literally, come on now, bless. You know what I mean? No. So the idea is,
interested.
Did you ever play Game Dev Story?
No, I didn't.
Highly recommend it to everybody. You can get it for super cheap on your iPhone now. It might even be Apple Arcade, but I forget. But the idea is like you click over on singles, right? Then you say you want a new single, and then you get to title it, and then you go into it. And the idea, of course, is that, okay, cool. Now through those research points, I've unlocked, like I'm looking at it right now. I have a column for marketing, genre, lyrics, and choreography. You need at least one of those for everything, right? So the idea is that, okay, I'll do a digital only release for marketing. Genre will be pop. Lyrics will be love, choreography will be street, right? And as I do all that, it changes who it's appealing to. So as I look over here, right, like 15% teen, 5% young adult, 10% adult, 0% male, 35% female. Like there's all these different things. And then there's a sales chart. I can look at trends to see what's been going on there and like what is popular on the market right now so that I'm making a song that will actually, be successful. So there's this whole gaming the system thing to it.
This is like, it's like pop star GTA. It's like the same thing.
Exactly. I'm not going out and shooting anybody and, and jacking a car. I'm just straight up, I'm doing the role-playing thing right here without the crime.
I think we saw this game at New Game Plus Expo.
That's where it was. I'm saying that we saw it. I knew we saw it at one of those things. Yeah.
Because I remember seeing it too and being slightly interested in it. How much of a time sink is it?
Hard to say. Like it's one of those, like, again, I just got the code last night and I've been playing probably for an hour. I probably grand total have had it on for 2.5 hours, but it's one of those I've been answering emails and coming back to it, which personally I kind of appreciate. That it is one of those games that it doesn't seem to be, at least where I'm at with it right now, that I need to worry about babysitting it. I feel like I can just let it play on fast forward. And again, since nobody's doing anything, they're just getting me research points to then spend on new things. I know that rent comes into play for how big of our office is and so on and so forth. But right now it's something that isn't demanding all my attention. The same way, a Fallout Shelter on its top level would be the exact same way.
Yeah, it seems to have like more of the Fallout Shelter mechanics, but that kind of surprises me because I thought maybe it would have some rhythm games in there or just like little mini games.
Yeah,
Britney's dance beat action.
This is strictly about making the money. All right, let's get out there and let's make the most successful conglomerate to make boy band, girl bands we can.
Is it basically the analog to how in the WWE games they would have the like show manager? Yeah, like the manager mode, where general manager mode. Yeah, where you would assign like matches and do all that stuff and try to build hype. Like, is it? I assume
you could be playing AEW's general manager mode right now. By the way, that is available.
Oh my god,
I've been playing that as well. I'm all over the mobile games, ladies and gentlemen. People thought Greg Miller is a one-trick pony with Avengers, which does have new content out that I do have a 7:00 date for tonight. But no, I'm over here. Tony Schiavone, welcome me back. I'm playing everybody. All right.
What are you playing?
Man, oh my god,
is that you? You just show us a picture of yourself.
No, Tony Schiavone just he gained a lot of weight and grew a beard.
That's your likeness.
Tony, everybody.
You definitely need to get some money off of that.
Them.
The hair is going the wrong way.
Miller skin.
Exactly. That's how they get around the copyright infringement.
Yeah. For every a pro tip out there for anyone trying to ever distinguish me and Greg, because I know it gets harder and harder as the days go on. Our hair split goes different ways.
Yeah.
Did you know that blessing or no?
I never noticed that. No.
I love that. I love how you've done hundreds of shows with us. All right.
But what are you playing on, by the way? I don't know if you mentioned. Is
PC,
like
baby.
PC. Oh, damn.
Oh,
I don't know if you know,
man.
It's until I got my Steam Deck, of course. It's a rare game that'll make me sit here hunched over this keyboard doing this thing in the middle of the night. But I'll tell you what, Idle Manager
anytime soon. Sorry, that was a bad joke. Keep going.
Get out of here.
You said rare game.
Yeah, no, I heard. Oh, I understood. I
know there's an audience member being like, not connecting the dots. I got to lay it out for them, right? It's a rare game that's going to make them play on PC. Something like Sea of Thieves. That would have been a better joke.
That would have been good. Everyone, give him credit for that one, because that's the one that counts.
Forget the first joke. Pay attention to the second one. The Sea of Thieves one. That one hit. That makes more sense because you can play that on PC.
Exactly. Raven, back to you. You want to talk about something that's very near and dear to my heart, and I hope that it is positive, but I'll take it if it's negative. What are your thoughts on Crash Bandicoot 4 that you're playing right now?
Uh-oh.
No,
Okay.
no.
It's not negative, but I feel like I just need to play more of it in order to fully form the negative opinion. But
Okay,
the
okay.
positive stuff, I like what I'm seeing so far. Like, I do like that they kind of sometimes when games come back after like not existing for a long time, you know how they'll try to reel people back in with the nostalgia, and sometimes it just doesn't land at all. I feel like it worked really well in Crash 4. Like it didn't feel like they were sort of forcing anything onto us. And I think for new players who are just getting into the series, then it's definitely like it doesn't really hold your hand anywhere. Like it just kind of lets you have fun with it. I don't know. I just like it a lot, and I really like Crash Bandicoot since like way back. So it has a soft spot with me.
But
But I know, I'm just getting
Tim was
sad.
waiting for the bad news. Tim's like, no, there's no way I'm getting out of this as a positive.
Yeah, exactly. Not gonna get away that easily. There's something about it that I feel I don't want Crash people to come after me. It feels a little bit too much like they're trying to make it serious. I even though you know what I mean? You know what I mean? I think giving it more of a story actually makes me less interested because I really enjoyed the trilogy, and I kind of liked that there was a lot of ambiguity with the characters. I didn't really care too much about the backstory. I think the focus was just on the silent protagonist, and I liked when a lot of platformers kind of function that way. So it's interesting for the new game that they go back in time and everything, but as I'm playing through, I'm just like, okay, I just want to do this and that. Like, I don't really care about the story. Just skip the cutscenes. Like, I'm just like really excited to play it.
yeah, I remember. So,
Yeah.
how do you think it stacks up against some of the original trilogy stuff? Because I know you were a real big fan of those.
Yeah, I think for me it's like an upgrade. Like I like the ability to be able to play Coco in some levels. Like the interchangeability with the characters is fun. I like how they have like the little, like you can see up there, they've got like the little retro levels. So it's nice for people who just kind of want to bask in that nostalgia. But I do think
Challenge.
it's like a great way to like introduce people to the series. It's just unfortunate because we don't really know when another one is going to come along. But I
Probably
like this
never.
for what it is.
I'm going to assume this
You
guy.
got more than you
this
deserve,
might be
Tim.
it.
All right, just be happy with what you got.
I want to be clear.
Exactly.
I got way more than I deserved. I got the entire trilogy remastered from the ground up. I got Crash Team Racing remastered with so many added courses. And then we got Crash Bandicoot 4, which I say it's the best Crash Bandicoot game. I really stand by it. Now, every once in a while I'll pop back. I will never platinum it. That is out of my skill level to be able to do. But every once in a while I pop back and I try to do all those rewind challenges and stuff and get frustrated for 35 minutes and I'm like, you know what? Back
Don't need
to
this.
something else. Don't
You
need
know
this,
what? I don't need this.
But I enjoy those 35 minutes though. I like it as this thing to go back to because I think the gameplay is really solid and I like the masks, the abilities they have in the game. I think really kind of freshen up a lot of the gameplay in a way that makes it more level design specific in 4 as opposed to some of the original games where some of the abilities you learn kind of break the game in some ways, like the bazooka and stuff. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. I do like that they kind of took all three, like the trilogy, and they just kind of updated it. So they took something that was already good and didn't try to stray away from it, which I didn't like with like every other Crash game after the third one. So it was really nice to see that change. Yeah.
Have you ever played Twin Sanity?
I don't want to talk about it.
Oh man, Twin Sanity, not that bad. Not that bad. It's nowhere near as good as the
I'm
others.
a hater.
I was gonna say, I
okay.
think she thinks it is that bad, Tim.
One of those Crash fans. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'll take that. I'll take that because, like, I mean, in my opinion, Twin Sanity is like a 6.5, but the rest of them are like 4 or unders. So I'm like, I see that as kind of like a glowing light where I'm like during the dark ages.
PS2?
Wrath of Cortex.
Terrible.
Wrath of Cortex is fine.
The game isn't terrible though. Is that that's the one with the box art where he's like
way too
in
big
a spacesuit or something?
Yeah.
Wrath of Cortex might have been my first Crash game.
well, that explains a lot. That explains a lot.
That's why I'm not a Crash person today. That game definitely ruined it for me.
Yeah, no.
And for me, it was
I played that and Crash Bash, and I was like, okay, this franchise is a wash.
It's like the worst ones.
Yeah, look at it.
I mean, I had fun though. I remember having fun with Wrath of Cortex and
the hamster ball.
Also, some fun with Crash Bash. Oh yeah,
Oh,
the game
It
shout out to
wasn't
Crash
terrible
Bash.
though. I don't want to completely like poop on it. It wasn't terrible because like that's the game that introduced Nina Cortex and other characters, right?
That is true. That is
Yeah,
true.
I think
So
it.
That's its place
some
in
good.
history.
Moving on, Greg, real quick.
Yeah.
What do you have to say about Marvel Future Revolution?
Marvel Future Revolution, another mobile game I've been playing, but very limited because, of course, it's not out yet. Over on GameSpot last night, they invited me to come be a part of their sponsored stream for Marvel Future Revolution. If you don't remember this game, you might, because on PS I Love You, XOXO, we were talking about what Insomniac should do for a multiplayer Spider-Man game. I pitched for my version, and then in the comments, somebody was like, Greg, that's pretty much exactly what Marvel Future Revolution is, to which I then looked into and then immediately pre-registered. It is this mobile game that is the convergence, right? It's the multiverse come together. The worlds are all slammed into one. And so the idea is that it's this online mobile action RPG where you go in and design your Captain America, Spider-Man, Captain Marvel, whoever it's going to be. You go through and unlock your own costumes and go through your own skill tree and make your Captain Marvel unique, so that when you play the game and you play other Captain Marvels, of course, there's a story built in that Tim's Captain Marvel is from a different universe. She looks different. She does a whole bunch of different stuff. It had been one of those, as soon as I heard about it, I got super excited about it. There wasn't at the time when I heard about it on PS I Love You that much out about it. Now there's more because there is a soft launch over in Canada. They've got it right now. Last night on the GameSpot stream, they announced it's coming August 25th. And so they gave me a thing so I could be familiar with it. I got to play a little bit of what's going on right now. And it's one of those that it's not exactly what I thought it was going to be, but I'm still very excited for it, if that makes sense. Where my thought was, when I saw the original stuff for it, got the original pitch for it, action RPGs, you see, multiple Spider-Man right here. I was like, okay, cool. It is going to be a Marvel Ultimate Alliance. It's going to be a DC Universe Online. It's going to be something I can plug my backbone into my iPhone and jump in and play. Getting it is immediately not that. It is very Ultimate Alliance like, but it also is a very mobile game. It's touchscreen. You have a bunch of different powers on there, so I don't think it's going to translate to, at least initially, a backbone or a controller attachment or whatever. But it is running through, and it is giving me that Ultimate Alliance feel of getting in there, bashing a bunch of different baddies, earning, XP, going in, leveling up powers, getting different outfits, feeling it out. The story so far is really interesting. Again, it's written by the same guy who wrote Ultimate Alliance 3. It is Marvel Games, of course. So it's got, oh man, Tim disappeared in the middle of that B-roll. It is telling you this whole tale of the convergence, everybody coming together. They do a bunch of cool stuff with Marvel Universe, right? Where as much as I loved Ultimate Alliance 3, it was pretty much, Thanos and the Infinity Gauntlet, right? Like we were doing the same kind of thing. Whereas this one is the multiverse colliding. You get these mashed up cities like New Stark City. You get Xander Earth, which is all, the Nova Corps on Earth, and you have nowhere in the background. You get the X-Men mixed in with the Avengers and all these different things going on. It's free to play. I know a lot of the criticisms of it online seem to be like right now, like, man, the marketplace is all out of whack in terms of how much they're charging for costumes, or like they did a change to what you're getting in terms of grinding and how much crafting costs. I know in this past week, I would imagine, hopefully, knock on wood, by the time it gets here in August, that'll be ironed out a bit more. But I'm excited for it, and I'm looking forward to it. It is a mobile game, so I think it is one of those, like, it is a step above, obviously, where mobile games were before, but it's not. I don't think it's as dialed in as something like Avengers in terms of, gameplay and what you're doing and involvement. There is a button to hit that is, autoplay, where, it'll run through and do the same thing. And that'll work for mainly, I think it's made for basic stuff of going up and talking to characters and progressing through the story and keeping that going. But I know, like, we saw some stuff last night on the stream that was like the blitz mode or the specialization operations thing that are like, more like raid stuff. Cause this is a multiplayer game. It is, hit up Blessing, him and I go and run a boss or whatever and try to grind out gear and get through that. So we'll see. Lots of cool costumes.
Is it engaging at all? I know you said it's very much a mobile game, but do you feel when you're in the action like you have any sort of agency as far as like, oh, if I play skilled enough, I'm gonna make a difference in this fight, or is it very much mash, get to the next thing?
The story stuff that I think this is so. Let's talk about it engaging from two different ways. It is engaging in the way that I played it, and I was like, cool. I put it down because I know that I'm going to want to really get into the weeds with this with my version, right? This is, a login for the GameSpot stream, some, beta name or whatever. The progress won't carry over, yada, yada, yada. I was engaged enough that I'm like, I want to have the, game over Greggy, whatever my Apple ID is. I want to play with that guy and have that level with me, right? But the content early on right now is a lot of like, okay, cool, I'm not being threatened that I'm going to die on this mission. It is me beating the shit out of a bunch of AIM soldiers, right? And then moving on and getting a new piece of gear. And of course, it's cool because, you know, I do this thing, I finish this mission, I'm playing as Spider-Man, I get this awesome pink variant of the Scarlet Spider top. I put that on, I'm like, hell yeah, this looks rad. That said, watching what they were doing on the stream last night, which was, you know, level 100 characters, it was running blitz. That was all right, cool. They had to dodge at the right times. They had to get out of the way. It was very much like the way I feel when I'm playing something like Marvel Ultimate Alliance high level. When I'm playing something like Diablo, it looked like more of, okay, cool, that's where I really need to think. So it's kind of hard for me to give you a read on that based on, you know, the first hour of the game where it's all tutorials, it's all very much easy, where they're easing you into what's going on in the story. But then to see where it goes and what it leads to, it makes me believe that, yeah, there will be content in there that does challenge you to, you know, work together.
Yeah, I think you're the one that might have sold me on this game after you discovered it, because I believe you talked about it. The first time I heard you talk about it, that's when I was like, oh shit, okay, I'm actually really looking forward to this. But today I might be unsold now. I don't know. Like, I'm trying to figure out. I want something Marvel that I can hop into and play and have a good time. That is something that feels like I'm kind of getting lost into it. Like, I mean, a multiplayer game, and I feel like I'm describing Avengers more and more as I go. But I want something that feels almost maybe more so like a DC Universe Online, where I feel like I am. This is my Spider-Man, and I'm building up this Spider-Man, and like I'm going crazy with the upgrades and all that stuff.
Ultimate Alliance, baby.
And that's what I was, as Greg was going, I was like, shit, maybe I just got to go back and play more Ultimate Alliance, because I played a lot of it when it came out.
And so, you know, obviously me and Barrett, we're the Bash Brothers. We love Ultimate Alliance. We played a bunch of it when it came out. I tried to convince him to 100, get everybody to level 100 with me. And he's like, I do not have that time, Greg. My thing is, I think from what I've played of Marvel Future Evolution, it's more than Marvel Heroes, which I liked Marvel Heroes, and I always talk about it. Marvel Heroes was the rainy day. I have nothing else to play, and I just want to bash stuff. I just want to see numbers, and I just want to level up and get stronger and go for better loot. That's what I would do in Marvel Heroes. This is a step above that, and I do feel that in a way you're gonna have more specialization with your heroes here than you did in Ultimate Alliance. I love Ultimate Alliance, but Ultimate Alliance inevitably did become cool. All my powers are filled out to the max, and I can just, you know, I you know, as Kamala Khan, I'm going to do the spinning kick to keep people in the air. I have Spider-Gwen teaming up with me and, you know, is doing a web toss from the top. I do see this one being, because there's skill trees and everything else in this, where it's going to be that cool. I've kitted out my Spider-Man to be a healer for this, right? And if you're playing and you're really into it, Bless, you've kitted out your Captain America to be a tank. Like, you've invested in those moves, you've invested in those abilities that, or even it would be that my Spider-Man's a healer and your Spider-Man's a tank, right? Like, I feel like there is the possibility for that. Again, I'm talking out my ass. I'm talking about possibilities, right? Because I am talking about what I've played for an hour, which is early game, haven't unlocked the majority of stuff, and then seeing stuff that is level 100, and, you know, having like Cynic Alex was on last night, or Cynic Alex, it's Alex, but whatever. He's a YouTuber who does all this stuff, and he's super into the trees last night and was explaining why he's running this and what he's doing with this and why this is a better move for what they're trying to accomplish right now. So that depth is there. The question always, though, becomes, right, is like, would you and me, Blessing, reach that? Would we put enough hours into it to cross that threshold where the game isn't anymore, oh, cool, let it autoplay, and then I'll figure it out later? Is it going to be like, okay, cool, now I need to be paying attention and be on the ball about what's happening?
Gotcha. Yeah, I might explore a bit. I might hop into that Ultimate Alliance and just finish it off, because I never finished the story. And then who knows? Maybe I'll try out the Avengers. What is it? Omega Level Threat 3 or whatever.
Well, do you have a level 150 character yet?
Probably not. No, I bounced out after the campaign, so I might not be able to do that.
But I will gladly help. You want to play some? I will gladly.
It seems like
here's the thing: it's double XP weekend.
Before we go too long on this, let me tell you about our sponsors. This episode is brought to you by HBO Max. HBO Max is a streaming platform that bundles all of HBO together with even more of your favorite movies, iconic shows like Friends and Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, plus new Max originals. I've been loving HBO Max. There's been a ton of great shows on it, including Hacks, which is a comedy that just came out this year, and it is fantastic. You should definitely check it out. But if superheroes are more your thing, guess what? They got Birds of Prey, they got Shazam, they got Wonder Woman, they got everything you could ever need. They got, of course, Batman, the animated series. And who doesn't want to rewatch that for the 20th time? I know I do. You can check out some of the best superhero content and so much more only on HBO Max. Sign up now with the link in the description to get in on the action. That's hbom.ax/kindafunny to get HBO Max today. Check out the link in the description and start watching. Got Wonder Woman Bloodlines is there, Green Lantern, the animated series, ton of stuff. Very, very cool. Next up, I want to give a shout out to Gabby Insurance. There are hundreds of companies out there claiming to compare auto and home insurance rates, but there's only one who actually does it right. Get a better insurance with Gabby. And I know it because I use this to check out to make sure that everything was working, that I had the best deals possible. Gabby's the one true comparison platform with fast, verifiable quotes, not ballpark guesses. You can use your current policy to find a better policy. It's super easy to use and it gives you peace of mind that you do have the best deal and you're not wasting money. It's super fast to use. You should definitely check it out. Put your policy to the test, just like I did. Get a better insurance with Gabby. It's totally free to check and there's no obligation. Go to gabi.com/kindafunny. That's gabi.com/kindafunny. gabi.com/kindafunny. And finally, shout out to Freshly. Dinner time can be chaotic, but with Freshly, it's easy. Their chefs take care of your meals a few nights a week and take the pressure off of you. My brother, Cool Greg, he's been loving this. Freshly just comes and then he has meals. He doesn't need to think about it. He just has some tasty meals and doesn't need to cook at all. Freshly offers chef-made, nutrient-packed, delicious meals delivered fresh to your door. No cooking required. Ordering is easy. You just go to freshly.com and choose from over 30 delicious, satisfying, better-for-you meals like steak, peppercorn, sausage, baked penne, or their chicken pesto bowl. Freshly can fit your lifestyle with a variety of plans and meals to pick from that work for your dietary needs, preferences, taste, and family size. Right now, Freshly is offering you guys $40 off your first 2 orders when you go to freshly.com/kinda. Stop stressing about dinner. Go to freshly.com/kinda for $40 off your first 2 orders. That's FRESHLY.com/kinda for $40 off your first 2 orders. And now that we're back from that, it's time for the topic of the show. And the topic of the show is Raven Simone herself, Bobdunga. So here's the deal. I have one question to start this off, and then I have a follow-up question to set us off, okay? Number 1, what is the story behind Bobdunga as a name?
Oh, it's a horrible story. Happened all the way when I was I think I was 13 or 14, and I just got my PS3. I think it was the PlayStation 3. Yeah. What game was it? I was playing Call of Duty, and I don't remember which one was really popular at the time. I think it was Modern Warfare 2, 3. I can't remember. But I wanted to play Call of Duty. I got PlayStation, and I wanted to get into the network because that's remember when they had that little network where you had the avatars and everything. So I decided to come up with a random name so that people in the chat wouldn't harass me for being a girl.
That is the saddest thing I could ever imagine hearing. Damn.
Yeah, that was the climate back then, though, because you'd go into one of the voice chats and everybody's talking about making sandwiches or things like that. And I was just a kid, so I figured if I just was under the radar and called myself Bob, then that would work. And the Dunga is just this. It's a very strange thing. I like to add little extra things to words. Don't ask about it. It's weird.
It's like a modifier.
Yeah,
Yes,
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, that's a sad origin story, but a great end of the story because you have turned that into something really, really amazing. I've been following you for the last couple of years, watching a lot of your videos. I love the deep dives you do into 90s nostalgia, early 2000s nostalgia, things that are very near and dear to my heart, from Blockbuster all the way to looking at just old lost media cartoons and commercials and things like that. But recently, you took that and kind of have turned it into this new thing that you are calling Tales of the Lost, which is you doing your own research, going back and trying to dive deep and uncover lost games media. That's what I want to talk about. Can you give me the pitch for the work that you've been doing recently?
So in the last, I think, 6 months, then I decided to start a new series called Tales for the Lost. And it's basically kind of like an anthology. So it has a collection of different documentaries in it. And the first one that I started off with was called The Girl Games of Lost Media. And that was this big deep dive documentary into trying to find the Mean Girls game that has been missing for like I think since 2007, 2008. But my intention for the documentary was that even if I didn't find anything at the end of it, I still thought that the whole process of documenting things and just having to reach out to so many people and hitting walls, I thought that that would have been interesting enough to sort of craft it into just this big video. And then stuff happened, and then I wound up making a part two.
So I have not seen part two yet, but I watched the entirety of part one, which is I'm gonna say it right now, a Daniel Dwyer no clip style documentary deep dive into finding this game that existed but also didn't exist. Like it was real, but was never released. It was like completed, like there's so many like layers to it, but like you really found the answers. You went in, you found people on LinkedIn, you like emailed them, got the stories, and eventually you actually got a code for the game.
Yeah.
Insane.
Yeah. That was, I didn't expect that to happen at all, because by the time the first documentary was done, I was like, okay. So I went in trying to find that, and then it turned out that I found a different Lost Media game. There was a Clueless game that was also supposed to come out, but like that one was just not even in the spotlight, because at the time everyone was just really focused on Mean Girls. So by the end of that documentary, managed to find that. And then right when things were wrapping up, then somebody from the team who worked on Mean Girls, they reached out and they were like, "Hey, I saw the first documentary. I thought it was great. Let me just fill you in with a little more information." And then I was like, "Nope, I gotta make a video. I can't."
Yeah, no, I love it. Like, the video was amazing. It was such a fun deep dive. I loved the editing that you did. I love all the production value of it. I love the guests that you got, including who? Blessing?
Oh, over here. Wait.
I was gonna make a joke and say one of the other guests, but I couldn't think of any of the names. But yeah, I was on there, which was super awesome. I love going back and watching the video because Tim mentioned earlier that it is a Daniel Dwyer no clip style thing, and I'd go as far as to say like it's like that, but also you have the Raven Simone twist on it, which does
100%.
kind of feed into like the 90s and 2000s nostalgia, which I always appreciate. And I appreciate it also because following some of your videos, right? Like you traditionally have done more short form style videos and stuff that I would say has influenced some of how we thought about putting together the Blessing Show, or like at least I've thought about putting together the Blessing
Oh
Show.
my God.
Because I believe was it called the Bobdunga Show that you were doing before?
Yeah, so it
Was
would
that the
be
exact
like
name for it?
reviews and like deep dives and small video essays, but they were usually
Yes.
under like 15 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah. So like my question for you is, for the transition from doing stuff that was more short form into doing something that was way longer form and requiring so much research and all this stuff, right? Like, what were the biggest lessons you learned doing that?
Oh God. Probably the biggest one was patience, because I remember being because you don't really know what's going to happen as you're working through it, because it was like a 5-month process, and throughout the entire thing I would reach out to like, let's say 20 or 30 people, and then 3 people would respond, but it would be like 2 months later. So it's like a waiting game. But the whole process, it was fun because I like the scavenger hunt element of it. Like I just felt like it doesn't matter where I go, like I'm having a lot of fun right now. I used to watch a lot of like Dateline and true crime documentaries. So because of that, and because of my interest in cinema, I really just wanted to like sit down, like put a halt on the other videos and see if this was a formula that I really loved, because I like the cinema aspect behind it. So I thought if I combine that with video games, maybe that will just be even better.
How
Someone
hard
who
was that
grew
to
up on
edit?
Dateline in 2020. That's awesome. I love that is you took that and your love for video games. You're like, you know what? I'll put these two together.
How crazy of an edit was it? Because I know, like, for before I got hired by Kind of Funny, right? I was doing OKB stuff, and that would often involve video essays, which for me would always take quite a bit of a while because I would try and go in and frame by frame, make sure that it was something that was fun to follow, and to make a longer
Yeah.
video. Like, were there any huge challenges in editing, or like for you, what was the main focus in terms of putting it actually together?
I think, well, when I was putting everything together, as I was writing the script, sometimes I would have like an image in my head of what I wanted it to look like as I was going through it. But I think during the actual production of it, it was hard because I've never done something that was an hour long, and I've never ran something that big with all those files into Adobe Premiere. And that's when I learned that Adobe Premiere has like a lot of issues. There was that having to constantly clear the cache, and then it also made me realize that I need to upgrade my PC because it takes a lot to like run the tiny animations, things that just look like they're small. Once it's all together, it's like, holy crap, you got to do it in pieces and everything.
I love it. I love it so much because like I'm looking back and like a lot of your the Bobdunga show, the smaller, shorter form things, the 10 to 15, 20-minute videos, they're getting kind of funny views. We're looking at the like 12 to 20K
Yeah.
average. But then you put out this Mean Girls documentary, the Girl Games of Lost Media, part one. And it's an hour 17 minutes. You put so much work into it. I was like watching you on Twitter as you were like working on it, putting it all together and like hyping it up, getting excited for it. And I really feel like there was this moment where you kind of met with this right community of this group, and you go into it deeper into the video itself, but like finding this group that is dedicated to looking for lost media, specifically
Yeah.
lost game media. And you had this unique kind of hook of looking for the girl games media and like this Mean Girls game on DS, and you start going down that rabbit hole. And I remember when you put the video out and it was already skyrocketing past a lot of your other videos, and I was like, hell yeah, this is awesome. And you hit like 20, then 30, and then it just kept growing, and now 4 months later we're at 171,000 views. Like, does that make you kind of like look back and be like, I need to just keep doing this?
Yeah, it makes me really happy, but at the same time, I'm kind of like a really huge perfectionist. So like I do I like the part one and part two. I've worked really hard on it, but then as time passes, I find that my mind is just like, okay, I want to do more. Like I always want to keep expanding on it. So it was really important that I use the 5 months that I had wisely, because honestly, it was probably the first 3 months that was research, and then after that, the last 2 months was putting everything together. So it I had a really great experience, and I feel like the whole docu-series thing is definitely something that I want to continue. Like, so long as there's like lost media to be found, I I don't know. I it was great. I don't want to be like, oh, it changed me, but like I had a lot of fun. Like, this is something that I would love to do with like networks, if even possible.
Did you find the game? Like I've been seeing stuff, I've been seeing you do in Let's Plays. Like, do you have a full completed version of this video game?
Yeah, there was a lot of issues though, because after part one, that's when the person reached out and they were able to give me like an answer to a lot of the questions that I had surrounding the game. And at the very end of the email, he was like, "Also, here's the game. Please don't leak it, but maybe you
Outrageous.
could show the gameplay footage." I know. Maybe you could show the gameplay footage. And like that was cool with that. But then it also became a problem where the ROM had so many bugs. Like it needed to be debugged, and it was during a time where I couldn't leave the house. So it was a lot of like bending over backwards and like trying to find other programmers to help out with it. But eventually we managed to get the game to work to a point where I could play it completely. It's like 97%, but it's still pretty good.
And
Could
you've
you
been
believe
playing
that?
it, doing Let's Plays and stuff on the channel of this
Yeah.
game that is just not publicly released. Sorry, Greg, go for it.
I was gonna say, could you believe that? Like, you read through this entire email, and then he's like, "Oh, and here's the build, by the way." Like, that just seems outrageous. Like, this is like your white whale, right? You started on this thing, not even sure if it existed.
Yeah, yeah, it was weird. It was weird because I told myself like I really want to find this game because a lot of the other content on my channel, it is focused around video games and nostalgia. But I did notice when I was looking through like the catalog of videos I've done, there's like a fair bit that's like specifically girls media, like old Barbie games, Bratz games. And growing up, that was always something that I was kind of drawn to. So with that love, and then also Mean Girls just being really iconic, that was
Of
like the
course.
first thing I wanted to find. Yeah.
Have you started looking into what you want to start doing in the future in terms of lost games? Like, is there a whole catalog of lost games that you sort through and to make the decision of which one you're going to
Yeah.
try and pursue next?
Yeah, I actually have like a little document on my phone, but there's a few that I'm working on. I'm actually talking with somebody about some lost media for an upcoming documentary that is coming out pretty soon. So I'm really excited for that.
Is it one of the several Superman games? You should do one of the several
Oh my
Superman games,
God.
please.
Is it Sonic Extreme?
Oh my god, please.
Oh.
Where can people find that when it finally does come out?
Oh, you can find it over on my YouTube channel at Bobdunga92. And yeah, I'll still be posting reviews there as well, but I'm just gonna mostly shift my focus towards the docuseries.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly, guys, I could not recommend everybody going to check her out more. Like everything from the Bobdunga show stuff, the smaller scale stuff, to the large scale documentary. Even Gia, my fiance, sat with me and watched it. We watched it in the theater,
Oh my
like
God.
watched the documentary, and like she was in. Like I was very, very
I love it.
surprised.
I
But like,
love it.
but I do think there's that the girl games like kind of side of it, especially when you're talking about the '90s and early or late '90s, early 2000s moment that like we all had in some way of these licensed games that like
Yeah.
quality aside we have nostalgia for, you know, like I know Greg played every Ghostbusters game that ever existed just because Ghostbusters was on the box, you know what I mean? And it's like
100%.
that for us, even the 90s and 2000s, it's like there anything with Spider-Man, I was gonna play it. Like, and now that sounds silly to say because we have Insomniacs and all that, but like back then that was different. And it's like I remember seeing all the Game Boy Color games coming out for, I guess Bratz wasn't out at that point, but like the things that made sense then that I'm blanking on
Yeah.
right now. But it's so cool that like a game that I would never think about besides just to like make fun of it being a thing, Mean Girls on the Nintendo DS. It's like that is something that you remembered enough to be like, I need to go back to this and need to find it. Like
I must
that was
chase this.
announced and it never came out, you know? Like
Yeah.
that's so cool.
It was always sitting on like people's lost media icebergs in like their video compilations. It would always be mentioned and just like it feels like when it was supposed to come out, there was like a split amount of people that either just, just passed it off as like shovelware because it essentially was shovelware. And then the other half was like a small minority of girls in my age group that were like, maybe it'll be okay.
I mean, dude,
And
that like that's the thing that I love so much about this is that was me in the now I can think a little clearly now, like in the mid 90s, they announced a Beast Wars game on the Nintendo 64, and I was like, I will do anything for this video game. Like, there's
I felt
no
like that
like
would
I
have
don't
been
care how
amazing.
bad it is. I gotta play it. It was a fighting game, and it was horrible. But I
Oh,
rented it for
no.
Blockbuster like 7 times. Like, just the fact that it was Beast Wars meant so much to me. And it's like I can imagine Mean Girls like being the same thing. And Mean Girls, one of the best
Yeah.
movies ever made. Period. But I love the idea that like you found this DS game. What got you into lost media as a concept?
Well, I think it's the true crime stuff that I was talking about before because there would be true crime shows I would watch. Right now I watch Big Boss Bose. She streams a lot of true crime stuff on Twitch, and it just I don't know, it kind of links together really nice because I like mysteries. I love internet mysteries. So it was just a genre that I kind of felt myself sort of slipping into just with the more interest that I had in watching other people. And then yeah, it just kind of worked out.
But what about on the video game side though? Like, is there like earlier I was talking about, and in the documentary, I don't want to spoil too much, but it's like this community of kind of people that are trying to
Yeah.
unearth this hidden stuff. Like, how did you get involved in that scene?
Okay, that actually took place after the video because I knew that there was like a community, but I didn't really know where they were. Like where were you guys congregating? Like where's so it was just
Well, that's what
it
I
was,
like when you're like
after.
the lost media iceberg and like everything. I'm like,
Yeah.
well, there's a whole subculture I don't know of like what's going on with it.
They're lost too, yeah. But it was weird finding them because like I didn't know how big it actually was. I saw that there were videos on YouTube, but and that those would get views and that there were clearly people in the comments that were watching them, but I didn't know that there was actually like a Discord server. This was only like way after when some people reached out to me and they were like, "Hey, we're part of the Lost Media Discord. We saw the doc. We would love to have you part of the community." And like just kind of welcomed me in and it was
That's
nice.
awesome.
So cool. I mean, so that now is like, do you feel like you are better equipped to make future videos based on like trying to find stuff because of the community you have? Or are you kind of a little scared about how ambitious it is because you nailed it on the first time of actually playing the finished video game that you were trying to unearth? Or is it somewhere in between?
I think it's somewhere in between because when it comes to working on things like that, I tend to like work in the dark a little bit, because it's just such a new community and everything. But uh, I would say that it does help in some ways because there's people in that community who have like a lot more experience where they've been looking into lost media for a lot longer. But I think I think overall it's like a positive thing. Yeah. Like it's great to be able to have the community there. And then it's also good to be able to feel comfortable enough to look for more media because I was so scared that this was not going to be an okay video.
So what do you plan to do with the Mean Girls game? Like, is it just gonna you're just gonna
Oh
sit with you?
God.
Is there anything regarding like video game preservation? Like, are there folks you send it to? Like, what do you do with it now?
That was like a dilemma that I had because he asked that I release the gameplay footage, but he didn't want me to actually release the game because apparently there wasn't that many people that were that close to the project when everything was like getting off the ground and like getting ready to go. So he kind of had fears that like that would sort of narrow it down or other personal things that yeah, he just had his own reasons and I had to respect that and that's been very hard, but I'd rather people in the lost media community trust me like
Mm-hmm.
than to just be giving out things that they're not giving permission for, you know?
And I have to
Yes.
imagine
I,
there's a
I
hope, right, that he would see, hey, look at the reaction this has had, and like now that the
yeah.
gameplay's out there, why not have it somewhere that it could be preserved?
Yeah, there was definitely a little bit of a back and forth. I was like, "Are you sure? Are you sure you don't want me to
What
release?"
about
Yeah,
but?
hey. But like, if he doesn't want me to, I have to respect that.
Of
And there
course.
was also a period where I reached out to a few other people involved, just to see if maybe I could get the okay from them. You know, depending on what position they held. But yeah, I'm still waiting for that.
Anime Simp writes in and says, "What was your favorite part of the search for Mean Girls DS, and what motivated you to start the search in the first place?"
My favorite part of the search was probably the, like, investigation board moment when I was looking over the Wikipedia articles for the Mean Girls game and just, like, looking at the Kotaku article that had a lot of inconsistencies in it. Something about that whole, like, process of, like, matching the pictures together and, like, trying to decipher the fact that it's actually not just one game, it's, like, 5 different games that were in one article. It was really confusing, but that whole process felt really rewarding at the same time because it was, like, a big math equation.
It's very cool. Again, I'm a broken record. You guys need to watch this video. It is so fun seeing the breakdown as this is all happening. And what motivated you to start the search?
Probably just the love of Mean Girls, the lost media community, lost media videos and true crime stuff, and wanting to be a part of it and make something of my own. So that's why it ended up being Mean Girls out of like everything else.
And then I love this question. This comes from Elmo is Innocent. What's your go-to method for procrastination?
Oh god. I think probably you know what? Probably binge watching shows like Pepper Ann, like stuff I've already seen
Pepper
before.
Ann.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
let me just watch that show again.
Wait, how do you even watch that? Is that on Disney Plus?
Oh, I don't know. Is it? I don't know.
Okay, okay. Yeah, I didn't think it was. What an ABC classic there. And then this one is maybe a tease of something in the future, maybe something you don't want to say. But Tyler Washington writes in and says, if you could do another super deep dive on a property, what would it be?
I thought about this one. Okay, this one I honestly don't think anyone's gonna find it, but it's the GTA port for the Nintendo 64. Do you guys remember that? It was like
No.
announced. Oh, okay. Okay, you guys gotta look this up. It's really interesting. They announced a port for GTA on the Nintendo 64, and I think they showcased a little bit of footage during E3's like in 1999, I think, or 2000, and then it just never came out. There was like a picture in a Italian magazine, and that's it. That's all the information that's available.
I did not know
That's
that. That's
fascinating.
Yeah,
crazy.
it's
N64 did
crazy.
have a bunch of weird ports. Like there was a
Yeah.
Doom port and a StarCraft port, but I never heard about GTA. That is awesome. You got to do that. That sounds like a
Look at I
wow.
know, it looks like a
Wow.
Flash game.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, it looks like
If I could
like the original like GTA 1 or GTA 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I could put in probably an impossible request, see what went down with Mother. Was it 3? Was it Mother 3 that was supposed to be
Yeah,
on?
Mother 3 never came
N64?
to the US. You know?
It never
I
came
get
out. I
that.
know you probably
I
have to
get
go
that.
straight to Nintendo and bang on their door
I
and then do
know.
like a heist or something. But if you can figure that one out, that'd be great.
I'll try to get that one for you.
Appreciate it.
So I know you're working on something right now. What are the details on that? And when is it going to be released? And when can people find it?
It's really hard to share the details for that one because I want to keep it close to my chest. But it is superhero-like. I can give that hint. It's superhero-like, and it has more than just a game. That's all I could say.
Oh,
Yeah.
How long before
what's
we hear more?
Yeah, exactly.
How long? How? What's the ballpark you think before we actually hear it or see it, or you can actually say what it is?
I wanted to say because I actually had it planned for the beginning of next month, but it might actually be a little bit later. But it's
Okay.
definitely will be sometime around August. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. So definitely go check her out. Please give all the support. If you could recommend one video for them to watch right now, what would it be?
Oh, the Beyblade review.
There we go. There we go. And then definitely check out the Mean Girls Lost Games Media documentary because it is
do that afterwards. Yeah.
fantastic stuff. But again, where else can people find you besides YouTube?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram. I'm pretty sure it's the same handle, Bobdunga92. That's where you can find me. Yeah.
There we go. Thank you so much for joining us for this episode. We're about to do the exclusive Patreon post show where we have a very fun episode of Bless Who.
Hell yeah.
Ooh.
Messy
Hell
mashup,
yeah.
baby.
But until then, love you guys. Bye.